So today, we're gonna have a look at an incredibly cool Minecraft mod called Pathmind. Now this mod allows you to automate basically anything in the game. And that's all through a very simple to use and sandbox-like panel. Let me show you what it's all about. Before I do that though, do make sure to double check if you're actually subbed to the channel. The vast majority of my daily viewers are still not. You can change that. It is just a simple single click and you would help me out so incredibly much. So a link to Pathmind can of course be found in the description down below. After installing it on a Fabric installation, all we gotta do is press on Alt. And this is the menu that opens. Now this somehow reminds me a lot of Typewriter, which is a Minecraft plugin which we've had a look at before here on the channel. So this thing here in the middle, this is the start node. And everything that we're gonna be creating will be attached to this one. Now here on the left side, we got actions and nodes that we can add. And I think you can already see how powerful this is. We got branches and loops here with functions like and, if else, and repeat. So yeah, this can go many levels deep. And this is one of those mods where I like to say your creativity is the limit. If you want to do something specific and you know how to achieve it using the given tools, you can probably get it done. So let's start with something simple. Here in this fourth tab, we're able to find the movement modules. So one that I'm simply gonna drag in is the walk one. A very simple one to understand. So I'm simply gonna grab it, I'm gonna drag it, and then I'm gonna let go over here. Walk has been added. Now the first thing you want to do is you want to connect walk to the main node. We're gonna select this little square on the side and we're gonna drag it towards the main one. There's of course another little square on the other side. So you can stack up a bunch of actions here. But what we need to do now is we need to fill in these boxes. So there is direction and there is duration or distance. Here we basically have to give the specifics. So which direction should we walk in and for how long? Now when you click on the second to last button here on the left side, we open the parameters. And over here we can add things like coordinates and direction and distance and closeness. But also block, item, entity, user. This is basically your most important menu. All the valuables and parameters you can find here. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna grab direction, I'm gonna drag it in here, and then you can either decide to choose for an exact direction, where you can specify exactly where you will be looking at, or you can go for a cardinal direction, which then allows you to go either north, south, east, or west. Up and down are also an option. I'm just gonna do north. Then we need to specify a duration or a distance. So let's do duration, nice and simple. I'm simply gonna drag in duration. We can choose an amount of seconds, an amount of ticks, but also minutes and hours, which is kind of crazy. In my case, I'm gonna go for seconds, and let's do something like 10. Now all we gotta do is click on the button all the way in the top right. This will start the sequence, and when I do this, you can see that I will start walking inside of a north direction for a total of 10 seconds. Now this block has stopped me in my way pretty quickly, but if there would be no block, for example when we stand here and then we do it again, you can see that I'll just keep walking in this direction. There we go. Now obviously this was a very simple automation, but there's a lot more we can do. So let's just add more to the current sequence we have going on. Now that we have walk, I'm gonna go to this fourth tab, and over here we're gonna add an interact node. This allows you to interact with a block or an entity. So I'm simply gonna drag it right here, and then we're gonna connect it again to the walk node. So this of course means that the walk node will be executed first, and after this one has ended, which in our case is after 10 seconds, it will go over to the next action, which is an interaction. So something which we can do is go to the parameter one again, and here we're gonna specify a block. So this is a block we're gonna try to interact with. In this case, let's go for an ender chest. Simple as that, interaction is done. So what we can do now is we can grab an ender chest and we can just place it right here. Then I'm gonna stand over here in the same line as the ender chest. Then I'm gonna change the duration to, let's do 5. That should be long enough. And now we're gonna start the sequence, and you will see that I start walking in a straight direction, and after that I will interact with the chest, which opens it. Okay, pretty cool, pretty cool. But of course, we can add even more. So now that we are opening an ender chest, we might as well put an item inside. And inside of this 5th tab, we can find a move item node. So we're simply gonna drag this one in. There we go. Now we're once again gonna connect it. And next we need to specify which item we want to move. So in parameters, I'm gonna look for item. We're gonna drag it in, and the item is gonna be a diamond. Like always. Then where it says destination, we're gonna drag in the inventory slot node, which can be found in the same parameter tab. Simply gonna drag it in. Now for this one, we're gonna click on edit here at the bottom, which then allows us to choose a different type of inventory. So in my case, we're just gonna choose for I guess a single chest would be the one. There is no ender chest or anything like that. So yeah, single chest, that should be it. There we go. And now we can choose which slot we want to move it to. So let's move it to, I don't know, slot 4 of the inventory. Then we click on save. And this now simply means that it will move the item to the 4th slot of the inventory we just selected. Now, of course, I need to make sure that we actually have diamonds. So there we go. And we're gonna stand in position once more. And then we're gonna execute it. And there we go. I start the walk. After that, I open the ender chest. And the items automatically get put inside of the right slot. There we go. Easy as that. Last thing I want to do is I want to close the inventory again. So we're going to go to this 5th tab. We're going to choose close GUI. We're going to drag it in. We're going to connect it. And that should do the trick. We walk in the right direction. After 5 seconds, we open up the chest. We put the diamonds inside and we close the chest again. All done with just a single press of a button. And a bit of configuration, but very intuitive. Now, as soon as you feel like you're done making your automation, you can either delete it again, or we can just make a new tab here, which creates a new automation. So I'm gonna make one called a subscribe because I would appreciate it. Now we're gonna click on create and there we go. A brand new workspace to work with. This one is just saved here at the top. We don't have to worry about it. There's now a second one. And all we gotta do here is click on the tab at the top and then drag in the start. There it is. And from here we can just begin adding things again. So let me show you another very impressive one. Here in the 3rd tab, there's one called navigation. And this one has a node named travel. Now travel will simply make your player move in a certain direction using Pathmind nav. Sort of a navigation tool built into Pathmind. So how do we use it? It's really simple. We just drag it in here, we connect the two together, then we go to parameters, and over here we're gonna drag in the coordinate one. Just like that. Now we wanna here specify which coordinates we want to go to. You can see right now, I'm nowhere close. So 0, 0 would work. I'm now just gonna start this sequence. Now my game is currently running at like 10 FPS. It looks pretty bad. It looks pretty trippy. But you can see that my character is constantly following squares or nodes that are laying on the ground. And it's basically just walking in the direction I told it to go. So yeah, this can be very trippy to look at for sure. But the thing is, it does work. Not perfectly. Sometimes it gets very confused. But mind you, this is still a very new mod that has not been out for that long at all. So I can totally imagine this being improved sometime in the future. But I guess you can see how this can be incredibly useful if you want to go to a certain location in the world and you don't constantly want to press the same button on your keyboard. An action that may be even more useful though is the crafting one. So as the last example of today, let me show you how that works. So I'm gonna grab a crafting table and place it down. Then I'm gonna grab a few stacks of diamonds. And these diamonds I want to turn into diamond blocks. So I'm gonna press on Alt. I'm gonna create a new workspace once again. Leave a like. Happy face. Then in here, we're gonna drag in the start node, of course. And now the first thing we're gonna do is we're once again gonna add an interact node. We're gonna drag it in. We're gonna connect these two together. Then I'm gonna go to parameters and I'm gonna go to item. We're gonna drag it in and we're gonna interact with crafting table. There we go. Then we're gonna go to the 3rd tab and over here, we're gonna drag in the craft node. So let's simply drag it in. Let's connect them together once again. Let's go to parameters and the item parameter we once again need. So we're gonna drag it in. Over here, we're gonna choose for a diamond block because that's what we want to craft. And let's craft like 64 of them. There we go. After that, I'm once again gonna look for a closed GUI. I'm gonna place it here after. Let's connect them together. And that should be it. Now, it's of course only gonna be able to craft these diamond blocks if we actually have diamonds in our inventory, which is why I just grabbed those before. And now all we want to do is simply click on start. And when I now execute it, you can see it actually doesn't work. That's because I made a mistake, but it's actually good that I did, because now you can see how great Pathmind is at explaining what goes wrong. So you can see exactly the error that it gives. No dropped Minecraft crafting table found for interaction. Now, what does that mean? It means that I used the wrong parameter here. I used the item one. So the game is looking for an item, which is a crafting table. Now, for those who don't know, this is a crafting table item. The thing that is laying here on the ground, that is the item. But as soon as we place it down, it becomes a block. And we want to interact with the block variant, not with the item variant. So how do we fix this? Well, we simply delete this parameter, the item one, just like that. We're gonna go back to parameters, and here we're now gonna drag in the block one. Now we're gonna choose crafting table, and everything should be fixed. So let's make sure to look at it. Then we're gonna click on start, and there we go. It's gonna open the crafting table, and after that, it is automatically gonna craft diamond blocks for us. As long as diamonds are available, of course. So we're not going to be able to craft 64. It is just going to craft as many as it can. After that, the sequence will quote-unquote break because it is suddenly missing materials, which means that it moves on to the last step, which is closing the GUI. And you saw it do exactly that at the end. Now that is very awesome and an actually very useful automation you could use inside of your Minecraft world. Now I want to make very clear, there is so much more to this mod. Again, your imagination is the limit. You can make anything you want, as long as the tools provided allow you to. I also want to make very clear that unless you have explicit permission from a server owner, you should probably not use this on a Minecraft server. Automating stuff like this can definitely be seen as hacking, while it is totally fine to use on a single player world. If you do plan on using it on a multiplayer server, please get permission from the owner first, otherwise you may get your account banned. And with all of that being said, that's gonna be it for today. Do make sure to sub to the channel, join my Discord. Thank you so much, channel members. And then I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. See you later. Bye bye.